All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're going to try and decode one of the most important and honestly, most complicated geopolitical events of our time, the war between Russia and Ukraine. The goal here is to get past the headlines and get right to the heart of its deep and tangled roots.
So, February 2022, it's a date we all remember, right? That's when the full-scale invasion kicked off. But the biggest question, the one that really matters, is why? I mean, how did we get here? To answer that, believe me, we need to rewind the clock way, way before 2022.
So, where do we even begin? Well, we're going to start by peeling back the first layer. You see, the roots of this conflict, they aren't new at all. They're actually buried deep in the last 30 years of history, going all the way back to the moment the Soviet Union fell apart. Okay, so picture this. It's 1991, the Soviet Union collapses, and boom, an independent Ukraine is on the map. Now, for many, this was a moment of celebration, but from Moscow's point of view, it was a huge geopolitical hit. For a long, long time, Russia had seen Ukraine as this vital piece of its strategic buffer zone. Think of it like a protective shield, separating it from potential rivals in the West. This wasn't just about land, it was about the very foundation of its national security. All right, so we've got the historical setup, right? Russia sees Ukraine as this critical buffer. But what was the actual spark? What was the one thing that really lit the fuse on all this tension? Well, the answer is probably one of the biggest, most debated topics in Europe since the Cold War ended. And this is where things get really complicated, because you have two completely opposing viewpoints that just can't coexist. From Russia's side, NATO expanding eastward isn't just a political move, it's a direct threat to their security. I mean, imagine the world's most powerful military alliance setting up shop right on your border. For them, Ukraine joining NATO was the absolute red line. But then, you flip the coin. From NATO's perspective, it's pretty simple. We're a defensive alliance, and every independent country has the right to decide its own future. You can see how there's just no middle ground here. They're on a collision course. And here's another layer to add to the mix. While all this external pressure was building up, you had these cracks forming inside Ukraine itself. The country was, and still is, culturally divided. You've got the western parts looking toward Europe, and the eastern parts with really strong historical and cultural ties to Russia. And these internal divisions, they were about to become incredibly important. So, for years, all of this was just bubbling under the surface, right? A lot of political tension, but no open conflict. And then, 2014.